Board Member Nottingham is tied up and will join us shortly, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. So the time is now 12:03, and I'm going to call the meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. I am Bega member Melissa Tucker, and I will be presiding over this meeting today in the absence of Bega Chairperson Norma Hutcheson. This meeting is being held virtually via WebEx. Joining me today for this meeting are board members Felice Smith and Darrin Sobin, and together we constitute a quorum for this meeting. Since it was first posted, the meeting agenda has not been changed in any way. So board members, I would ask that you please take a moment to review the agenda and let me know if anyone has a motion to adopt it.
I'll move to adopt.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. It has been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting. If no one has any comments or suggestions, all those in favor of adopting the agenda, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. And hearing none, the board has adopted the agenda for today's meeting. Before us today are also the July 13, 2023 draft meeting minutes. Would a member like to make a motion that we consider approving those minutes? And I'm happy to give some time if folks would like to review them.
I'll offer the motion to approve the draft minutes.
Hold on one second. Let me just make sure the dates are right.
Oh, wait a minute.
What do you
Looking at
see?
last month.
They look okay to me. July 13th was the date we met, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if we have the draft for today.
Oh, we just approved those a second ago.
Yeah.
The agenda for.
Maybe I'm just not seeing it.
Melissa, you're asking for a motion on the meeting minutes of last month that we approved them, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Oh, I thought, okay. So let's second that motion.
Okay.
I thought. Okay.
Were you going to say something else, Board Member Smith?
Oh, I thought we just voted on that.
So we voted on approving, adopting today's agenda, and now Board Member Sobin has moved to approve the minutes from last month's.
Okay. And I second that.
Okay, great. Thank you. If no one has any comments or suggestions, please vote in favor of approving the minutes by signifying your approval with aye.
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 Aye, me too. Any opposed? Okay, hearing none, the board approves the July 13, 2023 meeting minutes. And just a side note here, if there are any technical folks on the line, I believe Board Member Nottingham is having some difficulty accessing the meeting, and if anyone could assist him, that would be much appreciated. Next, we are going to hear a report from the Office of Open Government. OOG Chief Counsel Mr. Johnnie Barton is going to be providing us a report on behalf of the office and is appearing virtually via WebEx. Chief Counsel Barton, please proceed. Sir, I think you are on mute.
someone who's a host able to unmute him?
I'm trying to unmute him. Not quite sure what the problem is.
How about, if it's okay with everybody, maybe we can ask Director Cooks to go first. We can change things up a bit this time and give Mr. Barton some time to figure out what might be causing problems. Are you okay with that, Director Cooks?
No
Sure.
objection from the board.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let me just introduce you. Also appearing via WebEx is Director of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE, Ashley Cooks. And Director Cooks, if you would proceed. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Board Member Tucker and members of the board. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Director of Government Ethics. I'm pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. First, an update on the status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur because of action taken by the board during today's meeting. First are open investigations by status. We have 33 matters that are open. For open undocketed matters, we don't have any. We have a grand total of 0. For pending state investigations by status, we have 34 matters that are closed pending collection. 4 matters stayed pending DC Superior Court case. 1 matter stayed for OAG False Claims Act case. 4 matters stayed for OIG investigation. And there are no matters stayed for U.S. District Court case for a grand total of 43. For regulatory matters by status, we have 26 matters that are closed pending collection, 8 matters that are open for a grand total of 34 matters. Again, we currently have 33 open investigations and 9 matters that are stayed. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 3 new matters. The investigative team resolved 8 investigations, and fines were issued in 2 investigations since the last board meeting. This total does not reflect the number of complaints that were dismissed for a lack of jurisdiction. The FY23 third quarter complaint report is completed and posted to the website. It was posted on yesterday, August 2nd, 2023. Senior Attorney Lynn Tran created a heat map which reflects the number of cases that were closed during the third quarter, along with a press release that summarizes the categories of the cases. The heat map and press release were posted to the Bega website, and a copy was placed in the Dropbox for your review. OGE is in the final stages of agreeing to a memorandum of agreement for debt collection services with the Office of the Chief Financial Officer's Central Collection Unit, CCU. Pursuant to the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability Delinquent Debt Recovery Amendment Act of 2022, which was enacted in December 2022, Bega may discretionarily transfer delinquent debts associated with settlements and judgments for Ethics and Open Meeting Act violations to the CCU for collection, and the funds collected on Bega's behalf will be deposited into the Ethics Fund, or OMA Fund. Once the agreement is finalized, we will begin the process of transferring delinquent debts to the CCU for collection. Next is an update on trainings and outreach. First, professional development trainings attended by staff. During the last few weeks of July, Senior Board Attorney Lynn Tran and General Counsel Rashi Raj attended the Kogel Connect Ethics Roundtable. Program Coordinator Stan Kosick and IT Specialist Kevin Brown attended Octo's Artificial Intelligence Summit. Investigator Eliana Corrales attended 2 trainings from Whitlander and Zelinsky and Associates. The first was a refresher on cognitive interview techniques, and the second was on preventing false confessions. General Counsel Raj also attended the National Whistleblower Day celebration held by the National Whistleblower Center at the Capitol. The day included panels such as Life After Whistleblowing and Thoughts on Policy Improvements Needed for Whistleblowers. This panel featured whistleblowers from the private and public sectors, including the FBI, Enron, and Theranos. For trainings conducted by staff, since the July board meeting, ODE conducted 2 ethics trainings. the July quarterly board and commissions training, and July brown bag session. On Monday, July 31st, Attorney Advisor Maurice Echo presented the July Ethics Council brown bag session entitled, "Have You Ever Been Lobbied?" A copy of the presentation was placed in the Dropbox. During the month of July, 23 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft, and 9 users completed 9 courses using the learning management system. Courses BGA 923, General Ethics Training, was the most popular and accounted for a third of all courses taken in this period. Since the launch of the learning management system in April 2022, 5,897 employees have registered within the system. We continue to meet with our LRN program manager to discuss ways to optimize the system and increase employee registration. Next is an update on outreach. OGE is preparing for Ethics Week 2023. The week-long event will take place on October 23rd through the 27th, 2023. This year's theme is Ethics Every Day, #can't go a day without it. The coordination committee led by Supervisor Stuart Mitchell is in the process of finalizing the agenda, scheduling speakers, and purchasing memorabilia. We're currently developing moderated sessions with a panel of local ethics authorities and another panel on artificial intelligence. We are also reviving sessions with perennial favorites, the Campaign Legal Center, guest speaker Michael Brett Hood from last year, and of course, DC Bar for Legal Ethics for Government Attorneys. A draft agenda was placed in the Dropbox, and a final schedule will be published soon. Bega newsletter. On Friday, August 18th, OGE will publish Volume 8, Issue 4 of its newsletter, Ethically Speaking. The newsletter will provide financial disclosure statement fine information for non-filers, inform readers of ethical issues within the 3 branches of the federal government, and include enforcement actions taken by this agency and other ethics boards. This issue will be available on the Bega website and will be included in the Dropbox next month for your reading pleasure. Next is an update on advisory opinions and advice. First, informal advice. OGE's legal staff provided advice for approximately 15 ethics inquiries, which is 20 less than the 32 reported at the last board meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding the lobbyist and FDS e-filing systems. For formal advisory opinions, on June 22nd, OGE issued draft advisory opinion guidance on the local hatch act and use of campaign slogans. The opinion reminds employees of the political activity restrictions and that the on-duty restriction applies to district-regulated political activity and federal political activity. Specifically, the opinion states that employees are permitted to use the phrase "Build Back Better" when referring to the official policy initiatives of the Biden administration, but are prohibited from using "Build Back Better" as a campaign slogan while on duty or in the workplace, as well as slogans such as "Finish the Job," "Make America Great Again," or MAGA. The opinion was published on the Bega website and submitted to the DC Register for a 30-day comment period. The opinion will be finalized on August 10th. A copy was placed in the Dropbox for your review. On August 2nd, OGE issued an advisory opinion upon request by the Executive Director of the Poverty Commission regarding outside activity restrictions. The opinion addresses whether the director can serve as an adjunct professor at the American University without the role conflicting with his government service. The opinion provides guidance on the conflict of interest statute and the outside activity restrictions. Based on the facts, there is no apparent conflict with the director's official duties and his potential employment as an adjunct professor. Therefore, the outside activity is permissible, but still subject to the ethics restrictions. The opinion will be published on the Bega website and submitted to the DC Register for a 30-day comment period. A copy was placed in the Dropbox for your review. Next are legislation updates. We only have one, and that's on the Comprehensive Code of Conduct. As defined in the Ethics Act, the Code of Conduct consists of 7 different statutes and regulations with variable applicability. The Comprehensive Code of Conduct, CCC, is legislation that consolidates the district's ethics laws and standardizes the ethics practices between the legislative and executive branches. OGE's legal team will again review and update the CCU with the goal of submitting an updated version of the legislation to the council and then to the board and then to the council this fall. Next are OGE administrative matters. First is an update on OGE staffing. OGE welcomes our new auditor, Clara Oluwami, who started earlier this week. Clara is an experienced professional with over 16 years of investigation and auditing experience. She has a master's degree in accounting and financial management from the University of Maryland College and a bachelor's degree in genealogy from Nnamdi Azikiwe University in Nigeria. Clara's district government career started here at Bega in OGE in 2013 as an investigator. In 2017, Clara began working with the DC Office of the Inspector General as a management and program analyst in the Division of Quality Management and Auditing. She is a certified Inspector General auditor and brings a diverse background to her new role. Clara enjoys reading, watching motorsport racing, and traveling. Welcome back. I'm pleased to announce that our hiring phase has ended as we are onboarding 2 new investigators and an attorney advisor during the month of August. One investigator and the attorney advisor will start on Monday, August 14th, and the other investigator will start on Monday, August 28th. I will give you all full introductions to those employees at the next meeting. Next is an update on office relocation. Our office relocation is still underway. OGE and OOG continue our weekly meetings with the Department of General Services and the project management team to discuss construction and technology needs for the boardroom and staff areas. On July 26th, a group of OGE staff, along with Director Allen, conducted a walkthrough of the construction site, which is to become our new office space. Overall, the space is coming along nicely with most of the drywall and wiring in place. We remain hopeful that the proposed move-in date will continue to be November 2023. Next is an update on financial disclosure statement, FDS. Pursuant to DC Official Code Sections 1-1162.24 and 1-1162.25, public officials and certain government employees must file a financial disclosure statement as a means of transparency and to prevent engaging in conduct that violates the conflict of interest statute. Bega is responsible for ensuring that employees and public officials who meet the statutory requirements file their annual financial disclosure statement. The 2023 financial disclosure statements were due on May 15th. In April, the FDS team sent emails to 4,186 public filers and 4,263 confidential filers announcing the deadline. This year, we extended a 30-day grace period to late filers. Any employee or public official who failed to file their statement on or before June 15th will be penalized with a $300 fine. Overall, the financial disclosure season has been successful, with 94% of all designated public filers and 92% of designated confidential filers completing their financial disclosure statements. The FDS team has begun focusing on enforcement for late filers and non-filers. In addition to the 2023 enforcement, the Office of Pay and Retirement Services returned a list of 275 filers whose fine garnishments were not processed in 2022. The FDS team is in the process of reviewing the 2022 garnishment list for filers who may no longer be with the district, transferred between agencies, or paid the fine. The team has also sent notice of the pending garnishment to employees. We anticipate that the board will receive fine waiver requests from 2022 and 2023 filers during the same time period. Next is an update on lobbying registration and reporting, LRR. Pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.27A, a person who receives compensation or expends funds in an amount of $250 or more in any 3 consecutive calendar month period for lobbying shall register with the Director of Government Ethics and pay the required registration fee. According to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.30, each registrant shall file a quarterly report concerning the registrant's lobbying activity reports during the previous quarter. On June 29th, the LRR team sent notices to 450 recipients announcing the 2023 Quarter 3 activity reports were due by close of business on Monday, July 17, 2023. While numbers are lower than comparable dates in 2022, lobbyist reporting remains steady. The LRR team has been meeting with the Office of the Chief Financial Officer to identify upgrades to the e-filing system. And last is an update on public investigations. We only have one matter, and that is 23-0003F, Henry Medgar Webster. This is a formal investigation based on criminal charges against former Metropolitan Police Officer and Police Union Vice Chairman Medgar Webster, who was working at Whole Foods during his MPD tour of duty and while on overtime. Mr. Webster recently pled guilty to 1 count of first-degree felony fraud for committing time and attendance fraud. On July 26th, he was ordered to pay restitution in the amount of $33,845.59, which is the amount that he received. And he was sentenced to 6 months in jail, suspended, 6 months of supervised probation, and 54 months of unsupervised probation. Given Mr. Webster's criminal sentencing and that the district will be made whole through restitution, OGE requests that the board dismiss this matter. Thank you. This concludes the Office of Government Ethics August 3rd, 2023 report.
Thank you, Director Cooks. Welcome, Ms. Olawanmi. We're glad to have you back. Also wanted to note that Board Member Nottingham joined us a while ago. And with regard to the matter that Director Cooks was just speaking of, in Ray Medgar Webster, is there a motion from the board to approve the office's recommendation?
Could I just ask just a procedural question or status question? What is his employment status, Mr. Webster? Is he's not still employed by the police department, is he?
He is not.
Okay. Well, I'll certainly. I did have a question or two about other aspects of the first presentation, but in response to the acting chair's request, I'm happy to offer the motion that we approve the director's recommendation to dismiss the Webster matter in light of the criminal procedure and sanctions that he's already experienced.
I'll second that, and with the additional comment that I see in the proposed order, it is dismissed without prejudice, which means that, as in the past, we've done this because if he doesn't pay the restitution, we have the ability to come after him again. So with that in mind and that in the order, I will second the motion.
The motion has been moved and seconded that the board dismiss matter 23-0003F, in Ray Medgar Webster. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Are there any opposed? Okay. Hearing none, the matter is approved and the board has voted to dismiss 2003-003F, in Ray Medgar Webster, and close the file in this matter. Before we move on to Mr. Barton's presentation, Member Nottingham, did you say you had some questions for Director Cooks about the
Oh, just briefly, two quick ones. And I apologize, I had some technical challenges logging on, so I may have missed a piece of this, but there was reference from the director to pending rulemaking or policy regarding statements, like I would say slogans, like political or policy slogans, like "Build Back Better." I understand this. I think there's more info in the Dropbox, but just fresh recollection. What is that about? What people are wearing in the workplace, like wearing buttons or shirts with political or policy slogans? What's the context of that discussion?
Okay. I think I heard the majority of the question because you were breaking up a bit, but it's about the advisory opinion that we issued last month, guidance on the local Hatch Act. So the opinion addresses
Yes, thank you.
the opinion addresses the Hatch Act restrictions that prohibit political activity while on duty. So it informs employees that the restriction not only applies to district government political activity, but as well as federal political activity. So the on-duty restriction prohibits employees from engaging in any type of political activity that promotes or opposes a political candidate while in the workplace. And that does include wearing shirts that suggest voting for a candidate or suggest that oppose a candidate. So it includes not only engaging in that activity, talking to people, telling them who to vote for, but wearing political shirts, donating to political fundraisers while on duty, attending fundraisers or any type of political activity while you're on duty. So yes, the opinion addresses that, and it also talks about the slogans that candidates are using, such as "Make America Great Again," "Build Back Better," "MAGA," and those are prohibited while on duty. So an employee could not use those slogans to promote a candidate while they're in the workplace, or while they're on duty teleworking, or while they're just in a meeting or anything of that nature. So while on duty, they cannot use those slogans to promote a candidate.
No, I understand. I just, I think it's just like the details, right? I mean, a phrase like "Build Back Better" in small print on somebody's shirt, I don't know. I mean, it's just, someone has to be the referee there, and it's complaint based or it could look like.
I'm sorry, board member Nottingham, I can't make you out. You're breaking up.
I apologize.
So I think it was about Build Back Better.
Later.
I think your comment was about Build Back Better. Build Back Better is an initiative of the Biden administration, but it's also used in the campaign context. So the opinion distinguishes when an employee can use Build Back Better. So when referring to an official part of the administration, it's permissible, but it's not permitted when an employee is trying to promote President Biden as a candidate.
Okay, thank you. Are you able to hear me any better now?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yep.
Okay, apologize for that. Yeah, I just was trying to make the point. I apologize for the audio that sometimes these slogans can sound quite innocuous and generic, and it's the context and the way they're used, I guess. And I can sympathize with managers trying to figure out what's a political slogan versus just a couple of positive sounding words like "Build Back Better." But I understand. I'm very familiar with the Hatch Act. And on my other question, just briefly, was on the garnishment list that we received from what I'll just loosely call the payroll office. Is that typical that we would receive a long list of garnishment items or from a past year that have not been acted on by the payroll people, or is that just something we should be concerned about?
It is not typical, and it is the first time that it has happened. We submitted the list to OPRS timely with the anticipation, expecting that they would process the list for us. We were not aware that they didn't process that number of garnishments, and we didn't find out about it until a few weeks back. But we have had a meeting with them. Our chief of staff, as well as the program coordinator, met with the managers over there, and they have they've informed us that they are going to process the list once we review it to make sure that there aren't any inaccuracies. So I think their explanation was that they were short-staffed during that time, and that is the reason they didn't process it, but they're definitely ready and eager to process the list now.
And do you think it might be helpful if we were to do, if your office would do some sort of status checks every 3 months or 6 months? I just would hate to see another year go by and then find out, gosh, they dropped the ball again. Now we're 2 years behind.
Well, actually, they are going to give us bi-weekly updates of those garnishments. And because we transitioned between auditors since December of last year, that is why we didn't follow up with them about it sooner. But once we started this process for this year, we followed up with them and found out that it hadn't been processed. And they are going to give us bi-weekly updates of those garnishments.
Excellent. Thanks so much. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Next, we are going to hear a report from the Office of Open Government, OOG Chief Counsel Johnnie Barton. He's going to be providing a report on behalf of his office and is appearing virtually via WebEx. Chief Counsel Barton, please proceed.
Thank you, Board Member Tucker. Good afternoon, members of the board. I'm Johnnie Barton, Chief Counsel of the Office of Open Government, and I'm pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government, OOG, on behalf of Director Niquelle Allen. Since the last board meeting, OOG has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the District of Columbia government and the actions of those who represent them. I'll begin with a discussion of formal legal advice that the office has given since the last board meeting. Formal legal advice. OMA formal legal advice on in-block voting. On July 19th, 2023, OOG responded to a public body inquiry on whether a public body may act upon agenda items in block. Under both the OMA, general parliamentary law, and existing DC precedent, the answer is yes. If no member objects, so the board must take care to follow any other law that governs as well. Public body in transition from draft to final agenda may combine already existing items from the draft agenda into a more comprehensive block of items for a simplified unified action. This does not violate the OMA, but this advice must be taken in coordination with all applicable laws beyond the OMA, including regulations and bylaws. OMA formal advice on posting a meeting transcript instead of detailed meeting minutes. On July 21st, 2023, a public body was advised that it may post a transcript in place of detailed meeting minutes when necessary. Title III DCMR Section 10409.4 states that a public body may post transcripts instead of posting detailed meeting minutes. When posting transcripts instead of detailed meeting minutes, transcripts of the meeting shall be posted to the public body's website or the District of Columbia's website within 7 business days after the meeting. If transcripts will not be available within this time frame, public body must post detailed meeting minutes within 3 business days after the meeting, with a notation at the top of the document that full meeting minutes shall be posted on the next meeting date of the public body. Informal OMA FOIA advice. Since the last board meeting, OOG has responded informally by email or telephone to requests for assistance as follows. OOG responded to 5 requests for OMA advice. OOG responded to 4 requests for FOIA advice, and OOG responded to 7 requests for technical assistance with open-dc.gov. Remote meeting monitoring. OOG's attorneys and his paralegals attend remote public meetings to ensure compliance with the OMA and inspect public body website and the OOG central meeting calendar for public body meeting notices and records. We provide legal advice on OMA compliance and take corrective action if necessary. During July 2023, OOG legal staff attended 30 remote public body meetings. As a result of the monitoring, no written corrective measures were taken. Training and outreach, elimination of bias training. On July 6, 2023, Attorney Well attended Moving from Cultural Competence to Cultural Humility, presented by the Washington State Bar Association. On July 12, 2023, he attended LexisNexis University's program on eliminating bias in the legal profession. Both sessions presented tools for awareness of and the ethical compensation for social biases in attorney-client interactions as an advocate. FOIA litigation update. On July 11, 2023, as part of OOG's FOIA webinar series, Attorney Weil presented FOIA litigation update webinar training. He provided an update on recent Mayor Office of Legal Counsel or MOC appeal decisions, recent FOIA cases, and the procedural details of responding to MOC and judicial appeals. Along with OOG staff attended the training. Digging in DC event with the DC Open Government Coalition. On July 12, 2023, Attorney D. Berry facilitated a FOIA presentation at the Digging in DC event with the DC Open Government Coalition. Attorney Serbo, Attorney Weil, and paralegals specialist Brown attended the event. The event took place at the Shaw Neighborhood Library. Categories of FOIA requester, fee, acknowledgement, and denial letters. As part of OOG's FOIA webinar series, on July 18, 2023, Attorney DeBerry facilitated a FOIA training on acknowledgement letters, requester categories, fees, and decision letters. I, along with OOG staff, attended the training. Presentation highlighted best practices for responding to FOIA requests, FOIA fees, and the categories of FOIA requesters eligible for fee waivers. SCOTUS Civil Justice Review. On July 21st, 2023, Attorney Serbo, Attorney DeBerry, Paralegal Brown, and I attended George Mason University's Civil Justice Academy's Civil Justice Review of the Supreme Court's 2022 through 2023 term, an analysis of some of the most important Supreme Court decisions of the term that are more relevant for the future of justice, where economic analysis was most influential, from which we should expect greatest economic impact or adjustments in business activity. Searching for electronic records. On July 25th, 2023, as part of OOG's FOIA webinar series, Senior Attorney Regal from the Office of the Chief Technology Office, OCTO, facilitated a discussion on OCTO's role in the DC FOIA process, solutions and tools for emerging issues, requests for access through FOIA Express, and OCTO's email search process. Practicing Law Institute, PLI, Annual Municipal Law Institute Training. On July 25th, 2023, Director Allen and Attorney Serbo attended PLI's Annual Municipal Law Institute webinar training. The training topics included fair housing, a Supreme Court update for municipal lawyers, cybersecurity risks and best practices for municipal counsel, ethics for municipal lawyers, and attorney-client privilege parameters. The training provided attendees with an analysis of important developments, emerging legal issues, and best practices for local government lawyers. This year's program also explored important issues and developments in crucial areas of municipal law. Open Meetings Act training. On July 26, 2023, Attorney DeBerry facilitated an OMA training for the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority and the Corrections Information Council. I, along with OOG staff, attended the training. The training was well attended and well received. Preparing a FOIA case and FOIA defense litigation. On August 1, 2023, as part of OOG's FOIA webinar series, Adam P. Daniel and Brendan Heath of the Office of the Attorney General Civil Litigation Division Equity Session provided information on how to prepare for a FOIA case as an agency's FOIA officer. Presentation also provided information on current FOIA defense litigation. A question and answer session followed the presentation. Litigation and legislative update. Litigation. Washington Post lawsuit records related to the Capitol breach. As previously reported, the Washington Post sued the district under DC FOIA for certain records relating to the Capitol insurrection. The Superior Court granted the district's motion for summary judgment, and the Post has appealed. On June 28, 2023, the DC Court of Appeals referred the case to mediation. OG staff will continue to monitor the case. Requirement to physically post meeting notice resumes. Effective August 3rd, 2023, all public bodies must resume physically posting paper public meeting notices, including the date, time, location, WebEx, and planned agenda for each meeting in the office of the public body or a location that is readily accessible to the public. DC Official Code, Section 2-5762A. As with internet notices, physical notices must be posted as early as possible, but not less than 48 hours or 2 business days, whichever is greater, before the meeting. The physical posting provision is a standard requirement in the OMA, but was suspended most recently by Section 5B of the Post Public Health Emergency Protections Extension Temporary Amendment Act of 2022, DC Law 24-226, which expired on August 3rd, 2023. This requirement to post on the internet and in the requirements to post on the internet and in the District of Columbia Register also remain. Public bodies must upload notices to the website of the public body or the district government. The Office of Open Government continues to host a central meeting calendar, or CMC, for this purpose. The public body's administrative points of contact can continue to register to upload public meeting notices and records to the CMC for contacting the OOG for access credentials. On July 21, 2023, OOG began to send email reminders to public body administrative points of contact regarding this requirement. New Judicial Task Force regarding access to justice. On July 19, 2023, the DC courts ordered the creation of the Civil Regulatory Reform Task Force. The task force goals include seeking to reduce barriers to full participation in the judicial process and assisting with the court's numerous innovations to increase access to justice, such as the establishment of on-site self-help centers, community outreach listening sessions, conversion of forms and documents to plain language, creation of informational videos, self-guided online interviews to complete court forms, a dedicated section on the court's website for self-represented litigants, establishment of a court navigators program, and remote sites in the community for persons without internet access, and opportunities to participate in many court proceedings without traveling to the courthouse via online access. The task force will deliver a report on or before July 19, 2024, to the Chief Judges of the District of Columbia Courts with a copy to the President of the DC Bar. The report will be shared with the Board of Judges of the DC Court of Appeals and the Superior Court for the District of Columbia and released for notice and public comment for 60 days. As a component of the judicial branch, the task force is not subject to the OMA under DC Official Code Section 2-5743B. The administrative order is in Dropbox. Update on virtual open meetings, Authority Extension, Emergency and Temporary Amendment Acts of 2023. As previously reported, on June 20, 2023, the Council approved the Virtual Open Meetings Authority Extension Emergency Amendment Act of 2023. This measure would expand pandemic-era flexibility for public bodies to comply with the OMA by conducting open meetings virtually. However, it does not continue in effect the waiver of physical posting of public meeting notices that were in the previous emergency and temporary legislation. Emergency measure was enacted without the mayor's signature with Act number A 250170 and expires on October 10th, 2023. On July 11th, 2023, the temporary measure, Bill 25-0332, was adopted on a single reading. Was adopted rather on second reading. A response is due from the mayor on August 7th, 2023. Update on DC Water Critical Infrastructure Freedom of Information Clarification Acts of 2023. The amendment to DC FOIA would expand Exemption 15 to cover critical infrastructure for the District of Columbia Water and Sewer Authority, DC Water. As Councilmember Allen explained in his floor remarks, the current language only covers records on companies regulated by the Public Service Commission, which does not include DC Water. On July 11, 2023, the council passed the emergency bill, which was signed into law on July 26, 2023. Administrative matters, newsletter. Paralegal Specialist Brown, assisted by entire staff, prepared and published issue 3 of the Open Governance newsletter on August 1st, 2023. The issue included FOIA information litigation updates, administrative case law updates, Form May legislation updates, and upcoming training. The newsletter is posted on OG's Twitter account, our website, and the copy is in Dropbox. Bega 1030 15th Street, Northwest location. The weekly meetings continue this month regarding Bega's relocation to its new office. Along with Director Allen, Director Cooks, Chief of Staff Mitchell, and IT Specialist Brown met weekly with Department of General Services project managers and construction team to discuss the progress of the agency's relocation to its new facility. During the July meetings, the Bega team discussed the budget, construction progress, and AV needs of the new facility. Construction is actively underway. The Bega team continued to conduct site visits on Wednesday, July 2023. This concludes the Office of Open Government's August 3rd, 2023 report. I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have at this time.
Thank you very much, Chief Counsel Barton. Do any board members have any questions? Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to proceed with the public comments section of this agenda. The public was invited to submit comments in writing by 11 a.m. today. I don't believe that we received any, but I just want to double check with staff. Is that right? Okay, looks like that's correct. No comments were received. So the next order of business will be that to enter into a closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B2. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved.
Thank you. The board has moved and seconded that motion to enter into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The motion passes unanimously. Board members, please log out of this session and log into the WebEx for the executive session. Once the executive session ends, we will return to this WebEx to report out any matters that have been decided, finish any other business, and adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:26 p.m. and we are back on the record. There are no matters to report out today at the Board of Ethics and Government Accountability meeting. This concludes today's meeting of Bega, and the next meeting will be held remotely via WebEx on September 14th, 2023 at 12 p.m. Thank you all very much and have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah.